Team USA just played their lowest attended Olympic game ever. You might be thinking, how is that possible with stars like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart on the court? Well, it turns out there's one huge name missing from the roster that's got fans staying home. Let's break down how Caitlin Clark's absence is shaking up the Olympics. Now, you might be wondering, who exactly is Caitlin Clark and why does her absence matter so much? Let's take a closer look at this basketball phenom who's been turning heads and filling seats across the country. Caitlin Clark isn't just any college player, she's a basketball sensation who's been rewriting the record books at Iowa. Her skill on the court is off the charts and fans can't get enough of her. But here's the kicker, it's not just her play that's impressive, it's the way she's changing the game off the court too. You see, when Caitlin Clark steps onto the hardwood, something magical happens. Suddenly, arenas that used to have empty seats are packed to the rafters, TV ratings, they're through the roof. It's like she has this gravitational pull that brings fans to women's basketball like never before. But wait, it gets even better. You know how sometimes a player is popular in their home country but nobody else has heard of them? That's not Caitlin Clark. Her fame is spreading like wildfire, and not just in the US, get this, there are fans in Germany showing up to games wearing her Iowa jersey. Can you believe it? A college player from Iowa capturing the hearts of basketball fans in Europe. Now here's where things get really interesting. There's actually a term for what's happening, the Clark effect. It's not just about one player being good, it's about how her popularity is giving the whole sport a boost. More people are watching women's basketball, more people are talking about it, and a lot of that buzz, it's because of Caitlin Clark. And so when Team USA took the court without Clark, it wasn't just missing a talented player, it was missing a star who's become the face of women's basketball for a whole new generation of fans. And those empty seats at the Olympic game? Well, now you can see why people are connecting the dots. But here's the thing, Clark isn't letting this setback get her down. In fact, she's using it as fuel. She said, "It's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there. I think it's just a little more motivation." That's the kind of attitude that's made her a fan favorite. So what does all this mean for women's basketball? Well, it's showing us that one player can have a huge impact not just on the game, but on the entire sport. Caitlin Clark isn't just scoring points and winning games. She's bringing new fans to women's basketball and showing the world just how exciting this sport can be. Stir, you'd think a player who's been dominating college basketball and drawing fans from across the globe would be a shoo-in for the Olympic team, right? Well, hold on to your seats because this decision is more complicated than you might expect. Let's start with the basics. Team USA decided not to include Clark on their roster for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Can you believe it? Player who's been breaking records left and right, the one who's got fans showing up in droves, isn't going to be representing her country on the world's biggest stage. It's a decision that's left a lot of people scratching their heads. Now, you might be wondering, what was USA basketball thinking? Well, they had their reasons, but not everyone's buying them. Dawn Staley, who's part of the selection committee, actually spilled the beans on why Clark didn't make the cut. She said Clark would have been high on their list if she hadn't struggled in her first few weeks as a pro. Wait, what? They're basing this huge decision on just a few weeks of play? But here's where it gets even more interesting. The backlash to this decision has been intense. Fans, analysts, and even some former players are up in arms. They're saying Team USA missed a golden opportunity. Think about it. Clark's not just any player. She's a phenomenon who's been bringing new life to women's basketball. Her games are events, her plays make highlight reels, and she's got people talking about the sport in a way we haven't seen in years. Critics are pointing out that leaving Clark off the team isn't just about missing out on her skills on the court, it's about missing out on the buzz she creates, the fans she brings in, and the excitement she generates. They're saying Team USA could have used Clark to attract younger fans and boost interest in the Olympics. Instead, they went with a team full of veterans. Now, you might be thinking, how did Clark take this news? Well, here's where her star power really shines. Instead of complaining or lashing out, Clark took the high road. She said, "I think it just gives you something to work for. Hopefully one day I can be there." Talk about maturity. She's using this setback as motivation, which is exactly why fans love her so much. But let's get back to those empty seats we talked about earlier. Critics are saying there's a direct link between Clark's absence and the low attendance at Team USA's opening game. Only 13,040 fans showed up to watch the US take on Japan. That's the lowest attendance of any game in the Olympics so far. And this wasn't just any game. It was a rematch of the gold medal final. Remember those empty seats we were talking about? Well, it's time to dive into the numbers. And let me tell you, they're not pretty. You might be thinking, it can't be that bad, right? But hold on to your hats because what we're about to uncover is going to blow your mind. Let's start with the big shocker, Team USA's game against Japan. Can you guess how many fans showed up? Only 13,040. That's it. For a powerhouse like Team USA playing in a gold medal rematch, no less. It's like throwing a party and only half your friends show up. crowd. But here's where it gets really interesting. This wasn't just any low turnout, it was the lowest attended game of the entire Olympics so far. Can you believe it? Team USA, the dream team of women's basketball, playing to a half-empty arena, it's enough to make your jaw drop. Now, you might be wondering, is this normal? Maybe Olympic basketball just isn't that popular? Well, hold that thought, because the numbers tell a different story. Get this, the Serbia versus Puerto Rico game had more fans in the stand. That's right, a game without Team USA drew a bigger crowd. It's like the universe turned upside down. So what's going on here? Is it just about Caitlin Clark not being on the team? Well, not so fast. There's more to this story than meets the eye. Let's break it down. First up, timing. The USA versus Japan game started at 9 p.m. local time. Not exactly prime time for families with kids, right? It's like scheduling a party when everyone's getting ready for bed. Not the smartest move. But wait, there's more. The way Olympic tickets are sold might be part of the problem too. Instead of selling tickets for individual games, they often bundle them into sessions. And guess what? Sessions with men's games were way more popular. It's like people were buying tickets for the men's games and showing up early for the women's games as a bonus. Now here's a twist you didn't see coming. A lot of the fans who did show up, they were cheering for Japan. That's right, Team USA was playing what felt like an away game. Talk about adding insult to injury. But let's not forget about our girl Caitlin Clark. Sure, there were other factors at play, but you can't ignore the Clark effect. This is a player who's been filling arenas and breaking TV ratings records. Imagine if she had been there. You think those seats would have been empty then? Here's the kicker. This isn't just about one game or one player. It's about the bigger picture for women's basketball, these attendance numbers. They're sending a message, and it's not a good one. It's like a wake-up call for the sport. You might be thinking it's just one game with low attendance. What's the big deal? But hold on, because this isn't just about empty seats. It's about the future of women's basketball, and trust me, it's way bigger than you might realize. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This low turnout for Team USA, it's sending shockwaves through the basketball world. We're talking about the most dominant team in women's basketball playing to a half-empty arena. Can you imagine if this happened in men's basketball? There'd be an uproar. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just a problem for one game or one tournament. It's a wake-up call for the entire sport. Think about it. If Team USA can't fill seats, what does that mean for the rest of women's basketball? You're probably wondering what's going to change because of this. Well, let me tell you, a lot of people are asking the same question. The decision makers in USA basketball, they're probably having some pretty intense meetings right now. First up, team selections. You know how they left Caitlin Clark off the team? Yeah, that decision's looking pretty questionable right now. It's like they had a golden ticket to bring in fans and they just didn't use it. Can you believe it? But it's not just about one player. This whole situation is making people rethink how they market women's basketball, because let's face it, if you can't get people excited about the Olympics, what can you get them excited about? Now, let's talk about missed opportunities. Remember how we said Caitlin Clark has this amazing ability to draw crowds? Well, imagine if she had been on that court. You think those seats would have been empty then? No way. It's not just about her skills on the court. It's about the buzz she creates, the fans she brings in. She's like a magnet for attention, and in a good way. People want to watch her play. They want to be part of the excitement. So here's the million-dollar question. Did USA basketball shoot themselves in the foot by not capitalizing on Clark's popularity? A lot of people are saying yes. They're saying it's not just about picking the best players, it's about growing the sport. And get this, it's not just fans saying this. Even some experts are questioning the decision. They're saying that in today's world, star power matters. It's not just about what happens on the court, it's about what happens off it too. So what does all this mean for the future? Well, it looks like some big changes might be coming. We might see a shift in how teams are selected, with more emphasis on players who can draw crowds. We might see new marketing strategies trying to create more buzz around the games. But here's the thing. It's not just about fixing one problem. It's about seizing an opportunity. Women's basketball has the chance to become huge, to capture the imagination of fans around the world. But to do that, they need to make some smart moves. So next time you see an empty seat at a women's basketball game, remember, it's not just an empty seat. It's a challenge, an opportunity, and a wake-up call all rolled into one. The future of women's basketball, it's being shaped right now, and every decision matters.